Thank you for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Saying what need to be said. Today we talking about the Idaho Three Percenters. This is a group of Three Percenters. Specifically, their name is called the Three Percenters of Idaho. And this group is known as being the group of Three Percenters who came to the rescue or came to help the sons of Cliven Bundy, who ran to the Mueller Refuge. It's like a public park, after they tried to take the public park hostage because they feel that it should be used for some homestead bullshit shit or whatever. Alright, so they are known for coming to the rescue and trying to be a part of the aid unit and help those guys out, right? These guys, Ammon and Ryan, these are the sons of Cliven Bundy, who already was on the run from the feds. This is like in 2016. By 2016, he had already been on the feds' radar for illegal grazing. So he had already been breaking the law. They had been on his ass since 93 about the shit. It's 2016. So again, white privilege at work. So they finally decided to shut his ass down and get on his ass. And his sons caught an attitude, found a park, this Mueller Park, decided to kidnap the park with their little militia called the Citizens for Constitutional Freedom. And they basically had a staring contest with the federal government of the United States. Again, being allowed by the federal government to hold a standoff with the government, talking about the government doesn't have the authority to manage public lands. And this is the shit that they been bullshitting and hollering about to Congress, Supreme Court, and all of this shit. White supremacist, terrorist, sucker shit. You know? So, what happened is they got all kind of charges rained down on them. Of course, you know, in the white supremacist system that we live in, they're going to rain down charges on you. If you're white, they're going to at least walk you through that part of it. So they got all kind of charges like impeding federal officers, attempting to injure federal officers. But of course, there's a Latina butt kisser of white supremacy by the name of Gloria Navarro in Las Vegas. Dismissed the charges against Cliven Bundy, dismissed the charges against his sons, Ammon and Ryan, and the co-defendants, Ryan Payne, all these different faces. She said, it's okay, you can do it. Gloria Navarro, Las Vegas. So just so y'all know how the system works, it's supplanted by non-whites too, who act the ass and allow people to threaten feds, and it's all good. You hear me? People to snatch up public lands, and it's all good. Y'all don't know? And this is a little detour, but I want to just say, for all you guys in the military that follow orders from your superiors that say, let these militia guys threaten you for months on end, antagonize you and poke at you for months. If you don't see the danger in following those kind of orders, you don't see the danger in allowing anti-government groups to punk you out at every occasion. For those of you just basically following orders to threaten public safety and supplanting groups like this at showdowns like this just because these groups are undergirded, as you know, with white supremacists, terrorists, neo-Nazi organizations and the like, you are a dumb member of America's military. You're a dumb member of the CIA, FBI, CSI, SWAT, whatever you a part of. You have no nuts of your own. I just want to say that. You a bitch motherfucker. You came out of your mama just for some other man, your commander, to command your nuts. You know what I mean? You're not even the captain of your own nuts. I just want to say that. So the most obvious things we're seeing is that this group of the Three Percenters is allowed to help people who want to kill feds, people who want to evade feds, people that want to injure feds. Okay? That's the first case closed point about the Idaho Three Percenters. I look at what each of these organizations is being allowed to do in the face of so-called federal governance, and then from there I make my deductions, right? If you compare what they were doing to Dave Koresh or somebody, it should also reveal to you how white supremacist gang fraternity works. Dave Koresh, he got his whole compound blew the fuck up. Got his whole shit blew the fuck up out in Waco, Texas. With women and children in it. Babies off in his shit. Got it blew the fuck up. But this fraternity of former white supremacist gang members, I'm sure. White supremacist terrorist gang members, neo-Nazis, I'm sure. Right? They get a free pass. Their fraternity gets a free pass. Even a free pass over white women and children who they'll just blow the fuck up. Alright? So think about how deep their allegiance goes. Their allegiance is to their fraternities that are in these militias, these white supremacist prison gangs, Crew 38, the KEX, all these different groups. So it shows you how the affiliation goes. They will support their prison gangs more than they'll support their women and children. They'll blow up their women and children, but let their prison racist white supremacist terrorist gangs live in whatever form it presents itself. Be it a militia that says kill feds, or be it some other way. Right now we looking at militias, and this is how dirty this shit get, right? Just know that. So let's look at some of the things that the Idaho 3% be bitching about. They had this big thing with Syrian refugees coming into Idaho when the Syrians had their refugee crisis a couple years ago. So it was a big thing. They were coming to Idaho as a place to refuge and chill. And what was happening and what was coming out of the mouths of these 3%ers was definitely of what I spoke about in previous videos. Very anti-Islamic, pro-Christian, pro-white ideology and mind state. Did a little investigation on some of their rallies and whatnot. One of their rallies, they was talking about these refugees coming from Syria was coming into Idaho attempting to attack Idaho police officers. Lie, bullshit. We know that's the bullshit, because if there was any Syrian anybody en masse, because they made it seem like it's en masse attacking multiple police officers, or how do you attempt to attack a police officer and it don't make the news? I ain't seen not one news report. I ain't seen not one dead Syrian take a bullet from a police out there in Idaho, because that's exactly what would happen if that was the case. It wouldn't be no they attack a police officer and they're a refugee and they don't get shot. That's not what's happening. They're gonna shoot you, period. So that's one lie. Again, we talk about the white supremacist terrorist imagination being allowed to run wild. This is one of their things that they have run wild with and implanted into the psychology of their group. Another lie they'd say is that Syrians are taking Idaho people's jobs, which we don't believe. There's not that many refugees in the world that they would allow into one place and take up a bunch of white people's jobs in Idaho, where white supremacist terrorists need to come out and try to say, look, we're hurting this bad that we need to be on hunt for your type of people. That ain't what's happening. Alright, so they further lied at these rallies. Came across one rally dude was talking about they're going to be demanding Sharia law and that Syrians are terrorism. Islamic is terrorism. And so you know that's, again, pro-Christian behavior, which I said. They try to act like they accept everybody, but I defy you to find anybody that's not a Christian that's a part of any of these 3% militias. I defy you to find them. They're not allowing that type of stuff in these organizations. It's a religion-specific, race-specific sort of thing. They only bring out the coons when it's time to do some news, and then that coon gets pushed to the side. They only bring out the Latinos when it's time to let all charges be removed off of the back of one of their members when it comes time to do some shit like that, right? They ain't playing like that. One of the gripes was that at one of the rallies, the dude was like, these guys aren't identifying themselves. They come into Idaho and we can't do a background check on them. Like, anybody who walks into Idaho should be qualifying themselves to this 3% militia group. Like, who the fuck are they? Who the fuck are them? Is what I'm saying in my mind. Like, who the fuck y'all think y'all are? That people gotta qualify themselves to you. And you stole this country. Y'all should let everybody in for free with no background, because y'all didn't have no background when y'all came here. So shut the fuck up, is what I would say. To all you white supremacist terrorists out there, to all you that support this patriotism, white maleism, white supremacist terrorist, male Christendom behavior, and you want to sniff in everybody else's backyard, but y'all didn't come in here with no kind of papers. Y'all killed and raped, and then said it's illegal to do all of the killing and raping after you killed and raped. So I don't want to hear that shit. One of the funniest things this dude said, he was like, now are we racist? And the rally crowd was like, no. And he's like, yeah, now look at all the different races we have here. And then they got a pan shot of the camera and you saw nothing but a sea of mayonnaise. You hear me? Not a non-white face in the crowd. So again, like I said, this is a pro-white, pro-Christian organization. They prove it over and over again. So are they really covering some new kind of racially inclusive ground? No, you're not racially inclusive. Some sort of religious kind of ground? No, you just don't want anybody that's not a Christian or white a part of your organization. It all supports what I've been saying about this group. They are steered by Christianity and whiteness, period. That's the cornerstone of all their militias wherever you go, so don't sleep on it. That's what they about, no matter what they say and lie to you about. All right? So that's the main thing I want to get out about the Idaho 3 Percenters. I want to look a little further into the degeneracy of the Idaho 3 Percenters, because even though they get allowed by U.S. policing agencies like the FBI, the CIA, the police to stick their dicks in them, ideologically speaking, and convince the feds, the CIA, the police that they're good to go when they carry out these public shows of war formations, and they just grab up their guns and say, let's get all the Syrian people out of our state, and they're all on the news and everything. It ain't all roses, okay? Their top guy at the time of the Clive and Bundy situation, his name was Brandon Curtis. This dude had a little trouble with stealing from the little white supremacist militia group called the Three Percenters of Idaho. Alright? Matter of fact, their account was in the red. They was losing money they didn't have. And this dude was buying all kind of extra shit, hunting shit, gear, all this shit. Shit for his truck, trying to look fly. I think they said he had some jewelry. Real scumbag shit to claim such a unified brotherhood fighting tyranny in one breath, right? But then robbing his fellow white supremacist militia members in the next breath. That's no surprise. There's no violation that's off the table amongst these white supremacist organization members whose very roots are violating people for no reason, whose very roots are peacock strut, their white supremacist allowances that they get from a laxed federal fraternity and a laxed policing fraternity that won't stop them from operating. Like I've been saying, so all they want to do is peacock strut and cloud chase. They want to stunt with this shit, and this dude making their account going to the red so he can stunt with his truck. This Brandon Curtis guy, they claim to have fired him for robbing his fellow white supremacist militia members, similar to the Minnesota 3 Percenters, where they claim to have fired their leader a year ago over him threatening the lives of federal agents, which I told you I don't believe he was fired. It was just trying to say, look, you off cold for telling the feds we gonna blow their brains out. We gonna put you on some other kind of duty for a month. We gonna put you on tent folding duty for a month after we do our retreat. Lay low and chill out. We gonna play it like that. You know what I mean? Some militia version of a slap on the wrist was what they did, right? They claim they have fired the dude. They claim they have lost all these members. All these members just up and left after this guy was found out to be robbing and stealing, which I don't believe. I just think they told him to lay low. Look, that was a bad look, lay low. And this is another reason why I don't believe that he's out of his position, or that the members that claim they left really left. Just look at how on cold they are. They just told him to step down. They told him he's fired, but nobody is taking this dude to court. Haven't seen one court case pop up nowhere. So even when the white supremacists rob white supremacists, notice that they stay on cold. Now, I'm not trying to give you advice to not prosecute somebody who steals from your militia. Your code got to be stronger than that. You can't be robbing your own people. I guess they don't have a code amongst them as white supremacist terrorists and their militias to not rob each other. That's not a part of their code. But just standing up for whiteness and Christianity is good enough. But robbing each other behind closed doors, under the table, in the shadows, all that's up for grabs with them. So they're a real degenerate, fucked up ass group. They hate each other, they'll rob each other, and they're fucked up for that. So whatever, that's what they on. But I just wanted to drop that to kind of give you a glance at Idaho 3 Percenters. Again, pointing out example after example of how the feds have allowed them to run rampant, shit on the feds, get no charges, get the charges dismissed, I should say. They get charged, but it gets dismissed just because You know what I mean? So you can keep an eye on how they're operating with their militia, all right? So when we get to talking about other types of militias, we'll get an idea how not to do. What non-Christian, non-white militia out here. But that's what I'm getting at right now. Just had to stop, holla at you. And I'm gonna get at y'all.